Good morning. As usual, I've managed to give a nice little bit of silence, which most people prefer. But this is Keith Hayes with Rouser Radio. We managed to switch the microphone on, and this morning we're broadcasting from London, not Lewes, because of the idea that it might be difficult to get to the capital this morning from Lewes. And I made sure that I stayed overnight and stayed with a good friend. We had a very nice meal, he and his wife, quite local to Marylebone, a lovely part of London, I may say, with lots and lots of little restaurants and people, even last night in the cold, sitting outside with those sort of superheaters to keep them reasonably warm while they ate their meal. The snow has reached us, probably no more than about 10 or 15 minutes ago. The snow that's sweeping the country is causing devastation all over the place, and likely more to come. For us, Lewes could get some snow. The Eastbourne is likely to be hit very badly. So far, the trains seem to be running, but the train companies are warning that things could get worse. They've sent out trains to try and clear the track. Some flights have been cancelled, knee-deep in snow in many parts of the country. So that is the situation as of 2 minutes past 6. I'm in a nice, comfortable, warm room broadcasting, but believe me, if you stick your nose out, it is not pleasant this morning, and I'm going to have to do that in about an hour, so I hope that things have improved, but it looks as if we're in for a bit of a battering for the next 24 hours. The railway companies are saying if you're at work in London, leave early, because it's likely to be chaos. I mean, they could create chaos without snow, so I think that's a good warning. And if you haven't gone to work yet, think twice about it and phone the boss and say you'd like to stay by your own fireside, thank you very much, rather than have to trudge around the capital, because London is as affected as anybody else. I must say that the snow here in the western part of London is a wet snow. It hasn't started to settle yet, but it's starting to come down thicker and thicker, and who knows what's going to happen in the next hour. Anyway, Keith Hayes, Rouser Radio, normally out of Lewes, this morning out of London because of the weather, and I hope that you'll join us, and well, for whatever reasons. But I think that it's time now, we're 4 minutes into our program, is to have a little bit of music. And here's a trilly little number called White River. Oh, that's a sweet little thing, isn't it? It reminds you of snow gently falling. Well, I think that the snow isn't gently falling anywhere in the country this morning. It is causing havoc, and in parts of Britain it's had record levels of snowfall, particularly up on the moors and on the higher parts of the ground. It's very, very deep. The weather forecasters are warning that some villages may be cut off, and all in all, it looks as if it's going to be a bit of a chaotic 24 hours. Anyway, we'll see as it unfolds. If there is any great problem that it becomes dangerous or whatever, we'll try to keep an eye on it and give you a little alert, although most of the major media will be doing that. We don't want to emulate them, but it is, of course, of some interest to see how things are going. I'm just a little muted this morning because I don't want to wake the other people. I've been given the use of a studio with people nearby, but some of them are still in the land of Nod, and quite rightly so. At 7 minutes past 6 on a Friday morning, it looks as if all sorts of things are going to happen today. Some trains in difficulty. The British Airways have cancelled some of their flights, so if you're going anywhere, double check, because airports can be very, very cold, miserable places if you're waiting and nothing is going to happen. Better you stay at home and keep warm until you get there. Of course, as usual, the authorities have put out a warning. Be very careful. Make sure that you are well wrapped up and that you watch out for ice, particularly if it's covered by snow. This is where really bad accidents happen, whether you're driving or whether you're walking. The other thing that happened to me, and of course it's always good to have the experience yourself so you can warn others, is if you have medicines, make sure you take plenty to... I've just dropped a piece of equipment. There we go. Let's take your medicines enough to last you for a day, just in case you have to be away longer than you think. That happened to me, and last night I went to the Sherlock Holmes pharmacy in this part of London, and a very charming lady. And here's something I didn't know. They did it with my permission, but she said, okay, let's take a look at your medicine. And do you mind if we sort of find out exactly what you've been taking? And I looked with some surprise, because here I am in West London, and I'm from Lewis. And she tapped in on the computer, and she found me, and she found what the medicine I was taking, and so on. I mean, for all the criticism that I and others heap on the NHS, that was absolutely quite remarkable, that within seconds she'd found the medicines I was taking. She knew what I was taking. She didn't have quite what I needed, but she got enough for emergency. The other thing is that if you, like me, are of a reasonable age and you get your medicines free, if you need emergency supplies, you pay for them. There's no little chitty that says, okay, you're too old to be charged. You need to pay for them on the spot. So make sure not only that you have got plenty of medicines, but if you do find that you run short, make sure you've got a bit of cash or a credit card or whatever to get a fresh supply. In my case, because it was just a day, I've only got a day's supply, it was only a £5. But you could easily rack up quite a large amount of money, I would think. So do be careful, do think ahead. What else is happening? Well, of course, we've got the all this talk about Brexit. And in conversation last night, and a very cautious conversation in case anybody started to fall out about it, which people do, is the general consensus is would people stop speculating? We don't know what's going to happen, whether it's a hard Brexit, a soft Brexit, whether it's a crashing out or a crashing in. And really, the politicians are the worst. And some of if you just ask one or two questions, there's a bloke down in Dover who says, well, we'll lose 3/4 of our business, of our freighter business. Oh, well, where are all those freighters going to go to? And where's all the stuff that they're carrying going to go to? Go back to France or go back to the country of origin? I don't think so. But nonetheless, the authorities are, and assumed authorities, I know everything type of people, of course that's mostly politicians, but they don't give any evidence of what they're saying. And I'm not denying that things might happen that we don't like. But what I would like is anytime anybody makes some sort of statement is to back it up and tell us why they're saying that. What is their authority? What is the realistic appraisal of the future if those things that they claim will happen? I mean, it's all a bit of nonsense. It's all, why scare everybody? Oh, I know, because people want to make a political point. But my colleagues last night, it doesn't matter whether they're pro or anti Brexit, but they were very amused because there was one lady who very seriously on the media said, well, the big problem is that if Brexit happens, and if we leave the EU, we won't be able to get those wonderfully ripe and large tomatoes from Spain. That's just, with everything else happening around us, I don't think the lack of a tomato is going to particularly bother me or bother too many other people. But there we go. Everybody's got their own idea, and I've certainly got mine. But I'm not going to express any of it because I don't have the authority. I don't know. And if, by any chance, I find that I have the ability to tell you what's going to happen tomorrow, my goodness me, I'm not going to waste it on Brexit. I'm going to set up, you can all pay a $5 outside, like Snoopy, the doctor is in. I'll make a fortune telling you what's going to happen tomorrow or in the next week, if I can have any accuracy. But of course, I doubt if any of you are going to pay a $5 to listen to me on the basis of what's going to happen next week or the next month or whatever. And I also